Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel and to another after action report for the Flames of War UK Nationals that happened 2 weekends ago at Battlefield Hobbies. Through Breakthrough Assault, it was an excellent weekend, met a lot of old friends and made some new ones, played some good games, some bad games. Me and Jimmy went, so we'll have a report for Jimmy and myself, and we'll have a look at some pictures of the tables and the armies. Um, so um, Also, I like to do this video to get some interest. If there was ever a Welsh Nationals or a 2-day Flames of War event in South Wales, drop a comment in this video saying that you'd be interested, and whether it be mid-war, late war, or both if you fancy it. Probably keep to the 100-point format, and it'll be next year some point, but just trying to gauge numbers and interest so I can push the case to get something organised, because I know there were events down at Firestorm Games. I know there was even ETC there before, but I think we need to get the ball rolling and get Wales back on the map, so to speak, for Flames of War events. So we'll start the after action report looking at Jimmy's list and then his opponents. Okay, so this is Jimmy's final draft for UK Nationals. So we did toy around with training Tiger 2s, but basically at some point I got pretty decent getting rid of them, and they can't be in two places at once, so we had to think of something else. Pack 40s, that was with the SS Panzergrenadier, seemed to get eaten up quite quickly. The list still revolves around the solid core of SS Panzergrenadiers, 9th Division, so that's Careful, Veteran, Fearless, with Panzerfausts. Gone with the recce version because the artillery is slightly cheaper, and they also have access to the 7.5cm guns. To back them up, we went with Brigade Panthers, so solid front armour, a good gun. They are aggressive and reluctant, but they have a 4++ stand, but they remained trained. But it does give a lot more guns, and you'll be able to put the platoon of 3 in reserve, in ambush, with the others coming on. And also there's still a lucky card. Okay, game 1 for Jimmy versus Soviets. The mission was Bridgehead, and Jimmy's written down lots of enemy tanks, as you can see. So it's an M3 Lee Company, Valentines, Churchills, and basically they came down his left flank, T-70s came down the centre, and the R2 Company came down the centre, and the R2 Company came down my right flank, so I guess centre and right. He had his Panthers in ambush, with his Stummels started clearing the left flank slowly. Second platoon of Panthers came on to help the left flank. Stugs and HQ Panthers cleared the right flank. Turn 5, 3 of his units ran away, and he tried a brave assault onto my infantry, with his infantry on my left flank, with 15 shots in defensive fire, killing all but 3 of his infantry. I remember Jimmy turned to me, because I was right next to him, said, "He just did an assault that you would have shouted at me for," and I think that's what he means by that. And basically, they seem to be having a really good fun in this battle, but it ended up being a 3-all draw. And Jimmy's tanks, Panthers, basically forming square in that deployment area for Bridgehead. But good little opening account for Jimmy, 3 points against a horde of Soviet and Romanians. Okay, game 2 versus American. The mission is Roadblock, which is in the mission pack for the event. So Jimmy has said, the Shermans came down my left flank, Chaffee's down the right, and OP in the centre with the infantry behind. He's very hesitant with his infantry to avoid my artillery, kept them at the back moving through the woods and never digging them in, allowing me to rearrange and pick some off. His pesky OP kept shooting at my Stummels, and my Stummels kept harassing the Chaffies. So this is where you have people, when you have an OP, it doesn't mean overpowered, it means observation point. Reserves came in, and second platoon of Panthers tried to help with the Shermans along with late pop and my ambush. Stokes in brackets I think, helped hold the Chaffies back as the HQ supported the centre. Realising it was turn 5 and then moved the Panthers to become a sacrificial distraction to keep the Shermans occupied. His infantry moved up into some of the town, and I moved my rear infantry into some neighbouring buildings to create a buffer from the objective. No assaults took place, I don't think, he says, but I was tempted, but I didn't see the need to risk it so late in the game. The Sherman HQ came on to contest the objective at the start of his turn 6, but couldn't withstand fire from the HQ Panthers, Faust and Stuggs, leading to a 7-2 victory. Again, I overheard this game and Jimmy's opponent saying, I think it was turn 5, going, "Oh no, I've done it again, I've left it too late." And yeah, so with this current mission pack, the contestation zone for objectives is for 4 inches, not 8 inches for the attacker. So it's a lot harder for the attacker. Okay, so I didn't get to see any of the action myself for this one because I was put in a different room. I think people had enough of me at this point. So game 3 versus German mission rearguard. The mission I really didn't want, and I did say this is one of the big problems with Jimmy's list, having 2 formations and rearguard doesn't work. And he said also probably the least favourite game of the weekend as well. His objectives were as far apart as possible, and he came headlong down my left flank with everything except 1 platoon of mounted infantry. Reserves came on and destroyed a lot of his right flank half-tracks, killing some infantry in the process. Next turn, more half-tracks dead or bailed, and my right flank infantry had moved to mop up, assaulting his bailed-out half-tracks, killing a second bailed one after assault was over. That was the only good thing that happened. On the right flank, lots of infantry died to MG fire. It's always a rough day when that happened. So lots of failed saves and lots of 6+ firepowers passed. A lack of agreed upon concealment led to my ambush having very little impact, and my reserves had no impact either. In 3 consecutive turns he destroyed my Stuggs, then Panthers, then my second Panthers, breaking my Panther formation. Having killed his half-tracks and AAs, I conceded with a 7-2 loss, as I did not have the ability to reduce the loss to 6-3. Some controversy in the sense that I should have never played this list, as he drew. Also, I remember Jimmy saying, so basically there was a bit of a mess up with the points, so the guy should have had more points than he had, as he realised he should have had more points for his last game, so he should have been playing someone higher up and Jimmy should have been playing someone else. But 7-2 loss isn't too bad, Jimmy. Yeah, sometimes you have these tough games that nothing goes your way, as I will find out myself. Right, day 2, game 4 versus Americans. Mission is escape. Very challenging game, but very fun. Playing an ETC player gave me the opportunity to show I was thinking through well and dealing with his attacks well. He moved extremely quickly, using smoke to cover his dashes. Turn 1 is when my ambush should have popped in hindsight, with lack of targets seemed pointless to bring them in to do nothing. Turn 2 is Crocodile, Shermans and artillery decimated my left flank, while my Stummels tried to keep his Stuarts at bay on the right. Ambush popped where we were forced to be in the woods, and if they failed, could shoot and scoot, the game would already be over. However, they passed and 2 of the 3 got out. Again, hindsight says I should have used my lucky to get my 3rd out to strengthen my position on the objective. By turn 4, all my reserves were on and breathing down his neck, and nothing move. Failing to deal with my Panthers in turn 3, with him fighting back and pushing the close Shermans, he ignored everything on the right flank, firing everything at my Panthers. With hulls and turrets facing opposite ways to maximise front armour and force 50-50 with lots of his 80-10 shots. After taking 15 shots, 3 finally got through to the sides and 1 bounce wasn't enough to stop him bailing, both of them. 8-1 loss, but the most fun game of the weekend, and one of those games that if had somehow survived, I could have gone on to win with the entire formation being exposed to my entire reserve return fire. Hope that made sense. Game 5, Mission Valley of Death. Last game, a nasty one. And following some advice from my Game 4 opponent, Sid, I risked manoeuvre. In a second risk, I kept all my infantry except my HQ in reserve to allow me to have both platoons of Panthers on the table with 1 in ambush. The game was very enjoyable, with both me and my opponent looking forward to the end of a carefree attitude to the outcome. His hypervelocity of his 76mm Shermans took their toll on my left flank, with his 75mm Shermans attacking the right flank, pestering me all the time with direct fire smoke. I passed a lot of armor saves and somehow a lot of reluctant remounts. With the objectives not being active until turn 6, it just became a game of exchanging gunfire on the left flank. The right flank was very dangerous at one point as the Sherman squeezed through a gap, and though I had blocked to get side shots into my HQ, they somehow survived 2 turns of side shots with a loss of 1 tank. On the right flank, the only unit to arrive there to support was one of my infantry platoons on my turn 5. They took a brave assault his scout troops, unfortunately taking the 5 hits to stop them. Fortunate for me, I had 2 Panthers contesting the left flank, as though I would have had one, and he bailed the one contesting, thinking after all the dead Shermans on both flanks I had lost, but luck was still with me in this game. His next turn he added one of his last remaining Shermans to contest the objective, but my turn 6 I wiped the scout troop with Sherman survived, but it was only a matter of time, and with all the 75mm Shermans on the right dead, the following turn every gun fired at them and got bailed for a 6-3 win. So in summary, thoroughly enjoyed myself and loved meeting lots of players I've heard about. Frank especially made me feel welcome, but my most sporting vote went to Sid from Game 4. The game felt like a game down at a club as we chatted and laughed and talked through the process and received some advice to take away from the game for the next one. My goal for the tournament was to have a win on both days and finish top half, which I managed to do. To succeed with aggressive, reluctant tanks is something I'm very happy about. My fearless infantry held their own in every game, finishing the tournament on a high with 2 very fun games rounded off a fun weekend. Okay, so my Nationals experience. So this is my list. I went with Frost Paras upgraded to Polish First Brigades, so they counter-attack on a 2+ because I can't pass 3+ motivation, so I thought this would help. Backing them up, I've got Comets with Reggie, and I've also got Chaffies, so together that is bang on 40 points. M10s is a fairly decent ambush unit, because I will be going defend, and I've got Daimlers because they can be quite pesky, and I have a lucky card to help me when I can't roll as 2+ counterattacks when my HQ isn't around to shout at them. Okay, so game 1 for UK Nationals for me. So I saw the list the Thursday night before the tournament, so I got a quick study of it. I felt it was doable until I saw the D-Day Fallschirmjägers. So my only hope was I was playing a greener opponent who had not practiced the list and not practiced the new missions. And then I was informed I was playing Graham, who is the England ETC captain. So I knew a lot of that was out of the window. We ended up having one of these new defend missions, which basically happen at night, which is decent for me. Not so good when I'm against a horde of infantry. But basically, I've practiced them quite a lot with Jimmy, and I found ways that you can win quite quickly, and I need to win quickly against this one. The biggest problem with the Fallschirmjäger. It was a great game of maneuvering at night. He knew exactly what he was doing, and so I thought I did. But basically, I did a ballsy turn 1 assault with my paratroopers, because basically you have to put one unit kind of in the middle of the map holding an objective, and that's basically like a night patrol coming out. So I moved them to assault into the woods where there was an objective. Another thing with these new missions, you place the objectives after deployment, so it's very interesting, and you all have 4 minefields to place as well, but they have to be 6 inches away from the center of the table in your deployment area. Oh no, in your opponent's deployment area. Yes. Basically, that first assault failed. He rolled so basically being knight, he needed 5s, and with some of them he needed 6s. So with the guys needing 5s, he managed to get 3 hits, and he had 2 dice left. And I said, you need 6s. and he was using those iron cross dice, and we know what they're like, and he rolled 2 6s and the assault stopped. So my heart sank because I couldn't see a way out of this one. I left the Fallschirmjäger alone for my first turn, and they moved up to try and push on my objective. Turn 2, this is where things started going a bit better for me. I popped smoke in the face of the Fallschirmjäger, which were lined up line abreast, pure Napoleonic style. I moved my paratroopers in the same old style to meet them. Smoke was pushed in their face, and they assaulted. Now, being night and smoke needed 6s to hit, did not stop this assault, and the paras really took their toll in the first wave of assaults. The Fallschirmjäger did bravely fight back, counterattacking and killing a few of my own paras. My own paratroopers counterattacked and finished off every single Fallschirmjäger. Unbelievable. So I then consolidated on to that patrol objective, and there were things, unfortunately, still contesting it. So looking at what was contesting, he had some of his 88s and a Volkssturm platoon, so not too much to deal with. The only problem is, my minefield that I placed was in between me and those units who were just contesting, so that was a problem. A bigger problem on the other flank was I decided to assault the Hitler Youth with my HQ, and it turns out that they do actually know how to use their Panzerfausts, as clubs at least, and I got killed, and then the Hitler Youth were contesting the objective. I got a bit lucky in the wood with my other paratroopers, assaulting the Volkssturm and forcing the Panthers back, one of them which failed a cross-check and died, which is interesting. So turn 3, I'm contesting the objective, and I think if there's another turn going to happen, I'm going to lose, because those Hitler Youth are going to beat me, and I can't let them kids beat me. So I plucked up the courage, I moved my remnants of my paratrooper platoon into a good position. My artillery helped pin in the Volkssturm, the 88s, and that helped because they are slow firing, so hitting on 6s again. I then, bravely, with my 4 remaining paratroopers, charged through a minefield, which I never thought I'd ever do. I've seen Jimmy do it before, and it has worked. I managed to get into the assault with one guy, because we thought the minefield stopped. They don't. This 4 guy had 4 saves to make. He passed all 4 saves. He then, I think I remember, he failed to hit, but then the Volkssturm broke off. The 88s had a reroll because the Scout HQ was nearby. They also broke off, thus sealing a 8-1 sweaty victory to me. Absolutely love playing Graham though. I'd happily play him again. But yeah, these night missions can be quite brutal. MVP for me was Para Platoon from 2nd Platoon, and Dick of the Day was a HQ being killed by Hitler Youth. Game 2 was against Roddy, who was a lovely guy, and I was interested to see what he was going to do with his Desert Rat list. Again, British, it'd be interesting. Now, he didn't think I would defend, and he went defend, which is quite brutal, because he had not really practiced the new night missions, and I did, and I knew it was going to be a tough ask for him, because holding his patrol out on their own was a motor platoon against a para platoon. And with the mission as well, I was able to flank around a lot of his units to basically put pressure on one objective, and I thought I'd go for it for the other objective and pushed on that one. And unfortunately, turn 1, I wiped out the motor platoon holding his patrol objective, and there was nothing to contest. I thought some 6-pounders, which was behind the minefields again, that I placed, would be a problem, and I'd have to do another minefield assault, but unfortunately he could not move them to contest. We did have a couple of more assaults in his turn. He did make a mockery of a para platoon, forcing them back with 1 remaining motor platoon team, with my guys failing a 2+ counterattack. Basically, my turn 2 sealed the game. I didn't enjoy it because it's not, I practiced the missions, he didn't, and I knew exactly how to win them. If I play Roddy again, I hope we have a better game. You know, a lot to learn from these missions. It's definitely feeding into Battlefront on what to add and what to take from them. But no, this is all a learning curve, and I wished Roddy the best of the tournament. I know he'll do better than that, but it's not a fair reflection on what he's capable of. But maybe if he'd gone maneuver or attack, maybe he'd done better. But his list is also more defensive, but probably more defensive against armored and not a night attacking para unit, which my list was pretty much designed to do. Okay, so after two 8-1 wins, I was starting to get a bit nervous being near the top of the table and obviously playing the cream of Flames of War players. I came against Keith next and his Berlin Soviets. Keith, an utter gentleman, tolerating my crap all the way through the game, and again we ended up having a night mission. I was hoping I'd see the sun at some point in this tournament. So turn one, basically Keith got first turn and he also got to pick the patrol area, which was the opposite to what I wanted, because you get to pick if you win the roll off. In the previous two games I had won the roll for picking the patrol and going first. I wasn't too disappointed in not going first with this mission because I can use my smoke. Turn one, Keith just readjusted his stuff, and I thought I would go for it again. So I charged my platoon up into his red banner infantry on their patrol area, and I moved around my tanks, basically. Popped my smoke, and he had exactly 5 hits on me. So that taught me my lesson. Forced me back, lost probably about half the platoon, and I was like, well, that's it, because all that was between the Soviet infantry and the objective was a unit of 3 mortars, and what was left of that para platoon. His turn 2, he assaulted the rest of the platoon, and I broke straight away with 2 remaining teams to keep onto the objective. He then pushed closer to said objective. I managed to pass the last stand with a lucky test, and in my turn I reinforced the objective with my HQ, the M10s and the Daimlers, with the Comets trying to come on as fast as I can. Luckily for me, Keith didn't push it any more of his advantage, taking our objective. My other platoon did cut across the table trying to put pressure on his patrol area. Could have gone my way, but his Shermans managed to wipe out my M10s in one turn of shooting, needing 5s to hit with, I think it was about 7, connected with quite a lot of them, and he killed 2, bailed 2, and in my turn 1 failed to get back in, and then they failed their last stand. And then it was slowly, I was getting whittled down, and basically by turn 14 we had run out of time, and somehow we had a draw. I think Keith had the ability to win the game, but luckily I managed to hold for a 3-1. I didn't deserve, I don't think Keith deserved just to get 3 points for this game. If he had won, it would have been 8. Keith got my most sporting vote because he was a pleasure to play against, and again, me just trying to hold out for a draw. At no point did he snap at me or anything. It was funny how our dice just seemed to get good and then bad, good and bad again, but his ones were just he couldn't rally his troops, but when it turned up to hit my stuff, he pretty much did every time. It was a fun game. Sad that my sneaky little night antics came to an end, but I think kind of deserved it after the game against Roddy and my spammy luck against Graham. First game of Sunday was against my friend Rex, and basically the only way he beat me is because his dice were better than me. He was no tactics better, he's not a better player than me, it's just his dice were better and my ones weren't. But I'm only joking, Rex. No, Rex played an amazing game against me. The mission was Dogfight, which I thought, considering the contestant zone is 4 inches, I'd have a bit more advantage. Rex predicted the game would be 6-3 in his favour, but I think he was just being modest because he knew what he was doing and he had the ability to do it. I popped my ambush to deal with his flanking scout car spam, and my comets also tried to assist, but what lost me the game, I think, is he had his 3 AA half tracks in ambush range or sneaking up range of 3 of my para teams. I put 2 in, including a Piat, in a position that only 1 could fire on me. I took 1 hit, which of course went on the Piat, and of course I failed my save. I kept my lucky card because I didn't want to waste it. I swung and I missed. But the half tracks were either going to break through a minefield or through a forest, so I thought I might be able to catch a couple of them. He passed his counter-attack, of course he did. He was passing quite a lot of 5 pluses and 6 plus motivations, cheeky Rex. Um, and then he killed the paras. Now those paras were the last 3 between him and the objective, the other ones having pulling back to get outside the templates. And as soon as that happened, it was only a matter of time because the other AA half tracks managed to squeeze through the gap, and his infantry, which I could never keep pinned, also pushed through. It was always going to be a 3-6, but we didn't know who was going to get the 3-6, and I knew at this point I was getting the 3-6. So I kept in the fight as long as I could, but everything just started getting whittled away to the point where he actually almost broke my formation, and I needed a lucky card to actually keep my paras in the fight. And that was that. It was a good game though, fun. Rex is a great player to play against, and I would happily play that game again, and I would learn not to do stupid assaults. I felt like he knew I was going to do it after having watched probably a few of my videos, but yes, it was a very good game, and it was quite a good table as well, but yeah, 3-6 just got whittled down slowly, and I just couldn't deal with the amount of artillery coming down on my paratroopers. And yeah, stupid assault by me, but all good. All credit goes to Rex because he never gave up. And yeah, good game. Final game was against Thomas, and the mission was rescue. It's kind of like dogfight, but the objectives only go in one of the table quarters. So this game was probably the worst game of the weekend. I just, if I couldn't hit anything, I couldn't kill it. And I think it was very rare that I passed 3-up infantry saves. And against that amount of infantry, not the best. I think by turn 1, um, his infantry were in the open underneath my Vickers MMG template. I couldn't see the template, but still hitting on 5s with him rerolling saves would have been nice. But they didn't rally, even with a reroll. My mortars managed to range in second attempt, but I didn't kill anyone. But I only hit 1. I popped my ambush and needing 4s to hit his chaffies. I think I hit 4, killed 1, bailed 3. The rest got back in. Turn 2, I lost my Daimlers and my Vickers MMGs and my M10s. And then it was downhill after that. Basically, failing 2 plus counterattacks, I was getting pushed around the table and slowly getting whittled down, just having no ability to hit anything and kill anything. And basically, those numbers just came up against me in the end. But Thomas was a lovely chap. But no, it wasn't my day for that game, and a bit disappointing to play that game the way I did. But these games happen. But it's just unfortunate it was the last game. But it was good to see Jimmy enjoying his last 2 games. Thomas did accept my offer of Welsh cakes, so well, he must have enjoyed the game, absolutely battering me. I don't think I had an MVP that game. Probably my HQ, because he did stubbornly hold up against 2 chaffee assaults and 2 infantry assaults, and eventually got pushed away. Or I think he just got killed in the end. But yeah, the list I was running I thought would come undone against decent artillery, and he had 4 templates, 2 of which are 3 plus firepowers. And I think for the first 3 turns, I couldn't see anything with the amount of smoke, but well played, Thomas. Hopefully I can play another game and one day against you and do better. Okay, so you can make it out. So this is the kind of like, well, it's not bottom half, but like there's a little bit of like the mid table there. So you can see that Jimmy did what he wanted. He came upper, well, top half, which is excellent for Jimmy in his first tournament. And as you can see, he was very happy. He's happy he came along, and hopefully he can come along next time. And hopefully I can get Richard to come along. Hopefully we can have a tournament in Wales. Remember to put those comments in mid-war, late war, or just anything to come to Wales and play. When it's raining, it can be quite pleasant. So we'll have a look at the top of the table now. So top of the table, uh, Jacobo, I think, won it with his list. But my favorite of all was Frank winning second spot and best painted. As I said, he should probably try doing some commission painting because his painting is actually quite good. I think the best thing of all, Frank winning, was his attitude all across the weekend and leading up to it. Was himself saying he's not here to win it, he's just here to play, and he picked a list he wanted to use and have fun with, and his list wasn't anything special. He had no artillery in it, and I thought he was mad. Um, but look on his channel, he will do a review himself. He's just the master. He is the Grand Master, and as he created a new meta for Flames of War, is no artillery the way to go forward. Forget the half-track spam, the scout car spam. Don't put artillery in your list. You get 30 points in the tournament if you do that. Third place, Rex. So there we go. I lost to third place, and Rex deserved it. But yeah, so there we go. 3 German lists in the first, second, and third spot. And Graham, I think it was joint fourth. I did say to Graham, I said, no doubt you'll finish higher than me. And but yeah, he deserved it. Absolutely brilliant guy. Again, I just wish I could play him every week. But yeah, happy I beat him. But yeah, as you can see, I think it's joint 14th in the end after my 2-7 loss to Thomas. Yeah, top half, I feel I could have done better, but I think I deserved it having been so spammy with the night missions. I don't deserve my 2-8 ones. Jimmy said, don't be silly because, I studied the missions, I practiced them hard, but yeah, it did come unstuck at some point. I think in future, I'm going to try and go away from defend and maybe do more maneuver and attacking lists because it seems a bit more fun doing something than just sitting there. Although I don't sit there, I am quite aggressive in defense. Not that it works, um, but I find I get a bit more stressy in defense because obviously the attacker can dictate the pace of the game. Although in this mission back, the defender did hold a lot of the aces, and that's why I went defend. Obviously, it just shows it doesn't work. And I also have some take on the night missions. Okay, so the defend missions, which happen all at night, I like them because it stops an armored list go and defend against a defensive list and getting a meeting engagement. If you do that in this mission pack, you only get to start 1 tank unit and 2 other, so 1 main battle tank unit and 2 tank units on table. They will be bailed from the start of the game and can only deploy within 8 inches. So you do that with all tanks, you lose. You will lose the game in turn 1, and I like that. But the ability to win a game in 1 or 2 turns can be a bit harsh. So I think there should be a turn limit. So I'd say earliest the objective should go active is turn 3, maybe turn 6. There's only 3 variations on the mission, which I think is okay. I also think that the dawn rules should be applied. So I'm familiar with the dawn rules. So whoever goes second on their turn 3, they roll a dice. On a 5 up, it's dawn. All restrictions are lifted. Then next player's turn 4, 2 dice are rolled, then 3, then 4, then 5. So it enables you to put that rush on early. So then, do you need the objectives active turn 3, turn 6? I don't know. But if you think about it, the 2 of my night missions together lasted 4 turns. Well, technically 5 because the turn 2 did happen. And with that, if you don't win early, I do think they become draws like what happened with me and Keith. I do like them though, and I do like the mission pack. It's very interesting. Maneuver is definitely maneuver. Attack is definitely attack. It feels better than the current mission pack. It's food for thought. People who down Firestorm, feel free to ask me, and I think I can show you the missions. But yeah, it was fun. It's good that things are being looked at in Flames of War. And I personally enjoyed them, and I think other people did too. But yeah, always room for improvement. I think we can all agree on that. Okay, so the next few slides, I'll stop talking at some point, are just some of the tables from the weekend. All the tables are pretty nice. Unfortunately, the table I voted for best isn't in here because it was in the other special room, but it was amazing. It was really nice. I think this is one of Peter's tables, and he did get best table. I think he got a Scottish Nationals as well. He just scoops these awards up easily, and I think he almost got best painted as well. With some lovely tables. I did set one up myself, so the video coming, or the video before this is the table I took. I set it up as much as I could as it is in that video, but I just know whenever I try to set up a table exactly as I see it somewhere else, things just don't fit together. But yeah, so these are some of the best tables, and I've screenshotted these myself because I'm going to try and put them together myself for future battle reports. And behind these are some of the armies as well, which they look stunning. And I think the first one is Frank's List, which won Best Painted. But onwards now, mid-war. So me and Jimmy, the dynamic duo, we will be back, hopefully. But yeah, we get the practice against each other. And now Jimmy's gone to UK Nationals. It'll make him a better player. And I'm going to probably struggle to get a couple of points against him now. And maybe struggle to win as well, but it was getting close to that anyway. But mid-war, we'll pose some different challenges. What am I going to take? I've got those new Italian paratroopers I'm dying to use, but there we go. So I hope you enjoyed, and remember to comment about interest in Flames of War events in Wales. I don't know whether it would be Welsh Nationals or maybe Operation Valley Gaming. Maybe I'll do my own one. Does seem a lot to do, but maybe someone will help me along the way. So I hope you all enjoyed. Everyone I met there, thanks for the great time, and especially thank you for making Jimmy so comfortable being, first big tournament. Everyone's super chill. So if you've never been to a big event for Flames of War, that's the attitude you are. Some banter, a horrible joker played against me on Sunday morning. You know who you are. You know what you did. It wasn't funny, but yeah, it was secretly. It was. To be honest, I would have done it to someone else if I had the opportunity. Well played, good people. Well played. So until then, everyone look after yourselves. I hope you enjoyed, and sorry for butchering Jimmy's report. His grammar on his thing was, well, I can see it's hastily typed, but I did read off it. So everyone stay safe, enjoy, like and subscribe. Oh, and comment.